The tradition of men.
Smoking crack.
The tradition of men.
High on perks and mollies and Percocets.
The tradition of men.
Eating pork.
The tradition of men.
Making seafood a delicacy.
The tradition of men.
Getting tattoos.
The tradition of men.
Shaving your beard.
The tradition of men.
Getting shape-ups.
The tradition of men.
Getting abortions.
The tradition of men.
Voting.
The tradition of men.
Being Democrats.
The tradition of men.
Being Republicans.
The tradition of men.
Like these are the traditions of men.
Of men.
Saying what?
Teaching for doctrines the commandments of men.
The commandments of what?
Of men.
Like this is what the Christian church teaches, man. The commandments of men, man. Like we were never supposed to hold on to the customs and the traditions of another nation of people, man. But because of the Christian church, we adopted the culture and the customs of another nation of people, in particular like America. We hold on to the customs. We have held on to the traditions like the homosexuals, like the lesbians, man. We would never be the homosexuals and lesbians we are now if we didn't hold on to the commandments of men. This is Christ talking right here, right? These letters are in red. And Christ is telling these Pharisees and Sadducees, which would be your pastors today, how we hold on to the traditions of men or the commandments of men.
Verse 8. For laying aside the commandment of God.
For laying aside the commandment of God. The Christian church laid aside the commandment of God. They laid aside of how a woman is supposed to behave. They laid aside how a woman is supposed to dress. They lay aside how a child is supposed to be. They lay aside how a man is supposed to be. They lay aside how a woman is supposed to be. They lay aside what we were supposed to eat. They laid aside the food that we were supposed to digest. They lay aside what the traditions, the customs we were supposed to keep. They lay aside the commandments of God.
Ye hold the tradition of men.
Of what?
Ye hold the tradition of men.
What are traditions? What are the traditions of men? It said what?
Ye hold the tradition of men.
Like homosexuality.
The tradition of men.
Like lesbianism.
The tradition of men.
Like child molestation.
The tradition of men.
Like smoking weed.
The tradition of men.
Getting high.
The tradition of men.
Smoking crack.
The tradition of men.
High on perks and mollies and Percocets.
The tradition of men.
Eating pork.
The tradition of men.
Making seafood a delicacy.
The tradition of men.
Getting tattoos.
The tradition of men.
Shaving your beard.
The tradition of men.
Getting shape-ups.
The tradition of men.
Getting abortions.
The tradition of men.
Voting.
The tradition of men.
Being Democrats.
The tradition of men.
Being Republicans.
The tradition of men.
Like these are the traditions of men. Like these are not the traditions of God. When your pastor tells you to go out and vote, and make sure you vote Democrat, make sure you vote for your senators, make sure you vote for your governors, those are not the traditions of God. Those are the traditions of men. You understand? When your pastors tell you that it's not what goes in the body defileth man, but what goes out defileth a man, so that gives you the right and the freedom to eat all the pork, the shrimp, the lobster, the oysters, the clams, the mussels, the shrimp, the calamari, the squid, and the octopus. Those are the traditions of men. Like the Lord is against that lifestyle. The Lord is against, all right, that alternative lifestyle that we want to live. The Lord is against the traditions of men.